हमारा संविधान हमारी गाइडिंग लाइट है।
ये सिर्फ अनेक धाराओं का संग्रह नहीं है। हमारा संविधान सहस्त्रों वर्ष की भारत की महान परंपरा, अखंड धारा, उस धारा की आधुनिक अभिव्यक्ति है। और जब हम इस संवैधानिक व्यवस्था से जनप्रतिनिधि के रूप में ग्राम पंचायत से लेकर के संसद तक जो भी दायित्व निभाते हैं, हमें संविधान के लेटर एंड स्पिरिट को समर्पित भाव से ही हमें अपने आप को हमेशा सज्ज रखना होगा।
Namaskar. DD India brings to you this special presentation, We the People of India, chronicling India's constitution and its transitioning and legendary legacy. I'm Sakal Bhatt. The Constitution of India defines every Indian, belonging to the largest democracy of the world. What lies in the core and heart of India's thriving democracy? It is its constitution. From defining the intricacies of federalism to drafting the rule of law which runs the country. All this comes with years and years of exceptional body of work, persistence and resilience of the founders of the Indian Constitution. The very vision or the idea of Bharat then was much way ahead of its time. So today, DD India takes you back in time and takes you back to the golden era from where it all started. DD India presents before you We the People of India, India's Constitution and its legacy.
India, that is Bharat, shall be a sovereign democratic republic.
Take a decision in common and march in a cooperative way on that road which is bound to lead us to unity.
All that we require is honesty of purpose, firmness of determination, a desire to understand each other's viewpoints, birthright of equity and equal opportunity in this country.
The Constitution of India is a celebration of Swaraj, the joy of self-governance. It marked India's transition from a colonial subject to a sovereign democracy, affirming the power of its people, that they can shape their destiny, hence the destiny of the nation. India emerged from the shackles of British subjugation with the first tryst with freedom coming in the form of revolt of 1857 or Sepoy Mutiny. Energized by this rebellion and keeping up the momentum, a national movement of wresting independence from the British colonialists galvanized the entire nation. India's independence movement was born, led by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, fondly called Bapu. It was on August 15, 1947 when India got its freedom, ending an almost centuries-long British rule. The freedom struggle turned into a national movement marked by non-violent resistance and civil disobedience movement. Amidst all this, the underlying demand and the clamour to have its own constitution grew louder and firmer in 1940s, much before India attained independence in 1947. So it was on August 1940, C. Rajagopalachari's demand for a constituent assembly was accepted by the British regime. This was not a small step, but a big stride towards realization of dream that of independent, democratic, republic nation called Bharat. Now we take you back in time to retrace the timeline that led to the adoption of the Indian Constitution. It was way back in 1934 that the idea for a constituent assembly was first proposed. Then a year later in 1935, it became an official demand of the Indian National Congress. On November 15, 1939, Dr. C. Rajagopalachari voiced the demand for a constituent assembly. Then a year later, in August 1940, C. Rajagopalachari's demand for a constituent assembly was accepted by the British regime.
And the assemblies were able, in spite of them, to frame constitutions which were acceptable to the people at large, which have become, in course of time, an invaluable heritage for the people of those lands. There is no reason why we should not succeed also similarly. All that we need, all that we require is honesty of purpose, firmness of determination.
If we walk long enough, must necessarily lead us to unity. And if I therefore, from this place, support Dr. Jaikar's amendment, it is because I want all of us to realize that whether we are right or wrong, whether the position that we take is consonance with our legal rights, whether that accords with the statement of May 16th or December 16th, leave all that aside. This is too big a question to be reduced to the position of mere legality. It is not a legal question. I say leave aside all these considerations and make some attempt whereby those who are not prepared to come will come.
The first major stride that culminated in India having its own constitution was the formation of the Constituent Assembly. The composition of the Constituent Assembly was based on the population matrix. For every 10 lakh people, there was one representative, adding up to a total of 389 representatives. Out of these, 296 representatives were from British India and 93 from the princely states. The princely states refused to participate in the Constituent Assembly as they wanted to create their own independent states. Hence, the Constituent Assembly was formed with only 296 representatives from British India. India is a land of unparalleled diversity, spanning languages, ethnicities, religions and diverse cultures. The process of constitution drafting factored in all these unique features. This came with its own set of challenges, and despite that, Indian constitution was crafted and drafted in such a way that it stood as a unifying force. Constitution of India is the supreme law of land. It was on December 9, 1946, the Constituent Assembly of India met for the first time to start the historical journey which led to the creation of the Constitution of India. On December 11, 1946, in the second meeting of the Constituent Assembly, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the President and Harendra Kumar Mukherjee was elected as the Vice President. Benegal Narsingh Rao was chosen as the Constitutional Advisor to the Constituent Assembly. 2 days later, on December 13, 1946, in the third meeting, objective resolution was presented in the Constituent Assembly which laid down the underlying principles of the Constitution. Month later, on January 22, 1947, the said resolution was unanimously adopted by the Constituent Assembly and it became the preamble of the Constitution.
It is for the first time in the history of our country since we came under British rule that we have met to frame our own constitution. It is a great responsibility. In fact, as the honorable mover of the resolution reminded us, it is a solemn and a sacred trust which we Indians have agreed to perform, and we propose to do so to the best of our ability. We shall function on our own responsibility and prepare a constitution which we shall be able to place before the bar of world opinion and satisfy everyone that we have treated the people of India, minorities and all, in a just and equitable manner.
The Constituent Assembly then appointed a total of 13 committees to deal with the different tasks of constitution making. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar led the drafting committee. In an unprecedented move, the Assembly met in sessions which were open to the public for 166 days over a period of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, making it people's movement till the Constitution of India was adopted. Out of the 296 representatives of Constituent Assembly who played a stellar role with their contributions included important figures such as Sarojini Naidu, Hansa Mehta, Durgabai Deshmukh, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Sanjay Phake, Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, and Nalini Ranjan Ghosh, among others. With renewed vigor, after almost months of intense deliberations, it was on August 29, 1947, post India's independence, the drafting committee was elected by the Constituent Assembly. The committee held its first meeting on August 1947. It took 2 years, 11 months, 18 days to complete the final draft. India's constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. On January 24, 1950, on this day, the members of the Assembly signed 2 copies of the document, one each in Hindi and English, and Jana Gana Mana was adopted as the national anthem of India, and the first 2 verses of Vande Mataram were adopted as the national song. The constitution came into force on 26 January 1950. G.V. Mavalankar was the first speaker of the Lok Sabha after India turned into a republic. The Constitution of India became the law of all states and union territories of India. At the time of its adoption, the Constitution contained 395 articles, 8 schedules, and was about 1,45,000 words long, making it the longest national constitution to ever be adopted. The preamble of the Constitution declares India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, and democratic republic, and it assures its citizens justice, equality, and liberty, and also endeavors to promote fraternity. So, Indian Constitution provides for a parliamentary form of government which is federal in structure with certain unitary features as well. The constitutional head of the executive of the Union is the President of India. Till date, the Constitution of India has been amended 106 times. Indian Constitution institutionalizes democratic practices. It empowers citizens to participate in governance, uphold their rights, and demand accountability from their leaders. As per Article 79 of the Constitution of India, the Council of the Parliament of the Union consists of the President. It also consists of 2 houses known as the Council of States, that is Rajya Sabha, and House of the People, that is Lok Sabha. Article 74(1) of the Constitution provides that there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as its head to aid and advise the President, who shall exercise his/her functions in accordance with the advice. The real executive power is thus vested in the Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as its head. Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution of any country on the earth. It has kept this country together in tandem with the spirit of democracy. Picture this. Over 53,000 citizens sat in the visitors' gallery of the Constituent Assembly over a period close to 3 years and watched the debates held during the drafting of the Constitution. Also, there were 15 women members in the Constituent Assembly. This included Sarojini Naidu, Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, Hansaben Jivraj Mehta, Sucheta Kripalani, and G. Durgabai, amongst others. They all spoke on equal rights for one and all, when women in many parts of the world were denied even basic rights. As there were many firsts attached to the Indian Constitution, so were the great luminaries of the Indian Constitution with their exceptional acumen.
The Constitution for India is a constitution for the freedom and emancipation of every human being in India, whether it be the prince or the peasant. I want that realization to be carried home to them, and in no better manner, more convincing manner can it be carried than through the guidance and guardianship, the eloquence and action of Rajendra Prasad. I am hoping, and I believe I am right in hoping, that my friend Dr. Ambedkar, who is a little bitter today for no reason that I can discern, will soon be one of the most emphatic supporters of this Constituent Assembly and all its purposes, and that through him his adherents of many millions will realize that their interests are as safe as the interests of more privileged people.
In presenting this symbol of our freedom, we once more offer our services to the nation. We pledge ourselves to work for a great India, for building up a nation that will be a nation among nations. We pledge ourselves for working for a greater cause, to maintain the freedom that we have achieved. We have great traditions to maintain, traditions that made India so great in the past. It is the duty of every man and woman to preserve these traditions so that India may hold her spiritual supremacy over the world. May this flag be the symbol of that great India, and may it ever fly high and serve as a light in the gloom that threatens the world today. May it bring happiness to those who live under its protecting care.
Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is regarded as the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first President of India, became the first person to sign the Constitution of India. It is the largest written constitution of the world, which had 395 articles, 22 parts and 8 schedules at the time of its commencement. It is worth noting that the original Constitution of India was handwritten in beautiful calligraphy, with each page decorated by artists from Shanti Niketan. The Constitution of India is neither printed nor typed. It is handwritten and calligraphed in both Hindi and English. It had 90,000 words. It was handwritten by Sri Prem Bihari Narayan Raizada and was published in Dehradun by him. Every page was decorated by Shanti Niketan artists including Biohar Ram Manohar Sinha and Nandalal Bose. The artwork and illustrations, 22 in all, rendered largely in the miniature style. These represent vignettes from the different periods of history of the Indian subcontinent, ranging from Mohenjo-daro in the Indus Valley, the Vedic period, the Gupta and Maurya empires, and the National Freedom Movement, besides others. The Constitution of India lays down the framework demarcating fundamental political structures, procedures, powers and duties of the government and its institutions. It also sets out fundamental rights, directive principles and the duties of the citizens of India. The Constitution makers ensured that the nation has strong, stable, accountable government that is for the people, by the people and of the people. 26th January 1950. Historical in the annals of history of modern India. India celebrated its first ever Republic Day amidst much fanfare in national capital New Delhi. A salute of 21 guns and the unfurling of the Indian national flag by Dr. Rajendra Prasad heralded the historic birth of the Indian Republic on that day. Thereafter, 26th of January was declared as a national holiday and has been recognized as the Republic Day of India. Over 500 guests gathered in the Darbar Hall, Rashtrapati Bhavan, while large crowds assembled outside to witness history in making. It was on January 26, 1950, the newly drafted Constitution of India came into effect, replacing the Act of 1935 as the supreme governing document of the country. Dr. Rajendra Prasad began his first term as the President of India, replacing the British monarch as the ceremonial head of the state. C. Rajagopalachari read a proclamation at 18 minutes past 10, according to which, and I quote, India, that is Bharat, unquote, was declared as sovereign democratic republic.
India, that is Bharat, shall be a sovereign democratic republic, and the Union and its component parts, the states, shall exercise all powers and functions of government and administration in accordance with the provisions of the said Constitution.
Governor General's flag was lowered and Tiranga was hoisted on the Government House, which would later be named Rashtrapati Bhavan. 26 January 1950. The 1950 parade was historical, with glory, legacy and immense pride attached. Pride of being an Indian. It was held in the Irwin Amphitheatre opposite the Purana Killa. President Dr. Rajendra Prasad inspected the parade. Indonesian President Sukarno was the chief guest. The parade saw participation of marching contingents from the Army, the Navy, the Air Force and the Delhi Police. The artillery deployed fired a 31-gun salute in 3 installments. Between these installments, the parade fired the Fire of Joy, a formal celebratory gunfire thrice, and then gave 3 Jais to the President of the Republic of India. After the last masked bands had marched past, the President's horse-drawn carriage entered the stadium, flanked by President's bodyguard on horses. This is a tradition which continues till date. The procession was given a musical touch with a band of the Gwalior Lancers on horseback leading it. It passed through New Delhi's Parliament Street, Connaught Circus, Barakhamba Road, Sikandra Road and Hardinge Avenue, that is Tilak Marg, before reaching the stadium. The procession passed through 15 large, tastefully decorated arches depicting scenes from the Indian history and civilization. All of them had popular mottos or verses from the Mahabharata inscribed on them. Around 15,000 people inside the stadium witnessed the hoisting of the Indian national flag and singing of the Indian national anthem. The writing was on the wall. The Indian Republic had arrived. The ultimate custodians of the Indian Constitution are the people of India. It is in them that sovereignty rests, and it is in their name that the Indian Constitution was adopted. The Constitution of India empowers its citizens, but the citizens too empower their Constitution by following it, by adhering to it, by protecting it, and by preserving it to make it more meaningful with the words and deeds. The Constitution of India is nobody's preserve. The Constitution of India is every Indian's preserve. It is everybody's preserve. Jai Hind.
We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all eternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, to hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.